Good morning from wherever you're watching us from. Welcome to Impact Dialogues this Monday morning. My name is Ruth Wanjiru and I'm going to be with you for the next, 1 hour, 30 minutes, with you here, just interacting with you. And also we have such an amazing topic in the next hour of the show. Today we are speaking about land investments. Like, what do you look into when you're looking to invest in land? Are there maybe some things that you should consider? Is land investment even something to consider? That is what we are going to be speaking about. I have an expert in that. He will join us in just a while. But first of all, how are you doing since last Friday? I'm hoping that you're in good health. I am hoping that you are okay as well, and I'm hoping that your Monday kicked off well. It's not that cold, by the way. The weather is a little bit kind today. It's not cold, it's not warm. It's just the perfect weather for any Monday morning. And of course, when you have a powerful coffee, in a powerful Oracle TV mug, things just go the way they're supposed to. But good morning. I want you to check in, by the way. Tell me where you're watching me from. Tell me how your week is looking. Tell me what you're looking forward to this week. The number is just there on your screen. I would like to know where you're watching me from, whether you are in Kitui, Machakos, Kiambu, Embu. I never forget to mention Embu, Meru as well. Just tell me where you're watching me from, and tell me kama signal iko sawa. I have my phone here, so 0711 176 006. You text me, you call me, and also you can also WhatsApp. Okay, now, starting things off, we normally start with what happened today in history, right? And actually today I found a bit of, I think a lot of things happened today in history. Let me start with the internet. I mean, the internet that we saw right now, it was birthed today. That is on 7th April. Okay, I have something special that happened today. I'm going to tell you at the end of the show. But funny thing, the internet's first building block, I mean, that was in 1969. This was not the invention of internet, but this was when the first ever request for comments, that is RFC 1. I'm going to tell you what that is all about, was published. Now, this one laid a ground to what would become the internet that we know right now. Now, it introduced, communication protocols that allowed computers to share and connect data. That moment in 1969 was the spark that lit up our digital world. And this is so amazing. And I think it is amazing because this was like the internet blueprint in 1969. Now, RFC1 was officially published on April 7th. That it laid the foundation for the internet, as I've told you. It was the first document. Now, the RFC1 was a document that formalized communication protocols between computers, which eventually led to creation of the World Wide Web that we know right now. And then first message to ever be sent was from UCLA and Stanford. Those two are universities. I think those ones are just among the best universities we have in the world. But the first message ever to be sent successfully was between these two universities. And so the internet message was supposed to be login. But sasa kwa sababu they were still laying ground and trying to break through it, it ended up going towards law, just L and O. But that is number one that happened today in history. Like, if they did not do this, that is in 1969, we wouldn't have the internet that we know right now. And for you to go to social media, for you to go to WhatsApp, for you to use internet the way you like, there has to be internet. And we do appreciate celebrating this today. Now, I see we have a message. I've told you to check in and tell me where you're watching me from. I see Pastor, okay, let that message open. Pastor Amos watching from Loitoktok border. I think Loitoktok is the border between Tanzania and Kenya. Oh my gosh, Tanzania and Kenya. Thank you so much, Pastor Amos. Thank you for keeping it locked on Impact Dialogues. Thank you for joining me. Lakini hujaniambia how your week is going. Someone else says here, good morning, and then ametutumia encouragement. Let me read it for you, by the way. So this one says, some people will doubt you, others will try to block you, but doors will still open. Now, opportunities still find you. Your purpose does not pause just because you don't believe in you. Okay? No, just because they don't believe in you, sorry. No one can stop you from achieving your goals. No one can block the blessings that God has for you. God is more powerful than haters and doubters. Now, the problem is, haujatupatia jina yako, but that's such a beautiful encouragement for people this morning, especially on a Monday morning. We are starting off the week, so thank you for that encouragement. Keep sending in your messages, 0711 176 006. Tell me where you're watching us from and tell me how your week is looking, okay? So moving on swiftly. Now, number two thing that happened today in history, something else that it's actually interesting. Do you know the matchstick was invented today? Ile kiberiti was invented today. That was in 1827, 7th January 7th April 1827. Now the English chemist that is John Walker introduced the world to a friction match. That kanini, we call it a friction match kwa sababu unatumianga force wakati unaiwasha. Now it made fire starting easier, safer, and way more convenient. An invention that literally lit up the 19th century. And I love how they put it, a match made in chemistry. Wow. Yeah, that's actually interesting. Now that's number two. Number three, WHO, the World Health Organization, was born today, or rather was established today. Now the World Health Organization is the world's organization that deals with health issues. You remember during the time of COVID, they're the ones that could give us all these updates, whether there's a pandemic or an endemic, something like that. But the World Organization was established today, and since then it has led it has led to the improvement of the health industry across the world. Now it led to the charge in disease prevention, vaccination efforts, and global health strategies. Now a powerful force in the world of medicine and innovation. Now it was established today, that is 7th of April in 1948. Wow, in 1948. Those are the three notable things I could find on what happened today in history. I don't know what you think about either of them. You tell me which is your favorite. Is it the match made in chemistry, that is the matchbox? Is it the internet being born today? Which one are you celebrating? Or is it the World Health Organization? Text me on that number. I will be reading your messages in just a while. Now we go to our weather and check how our weather is looking like. Now Nairobi, the current conditions, it's mostly cloudy right now. We are ranging at 62 degrees Celsius. Now, through the day, there's going to be a mix of clouds and sun with chances of a thunderstorm or two, especially in the afternoons. Now, the highs are going to range around 77 degrees Celsius and lows of 25 degrees Celsius. That is in Nairobi. Mombasa, it is currently partly sunny. We are ranging at 80 degrees Celsius as of now. Now, throughout the day, expect partly, a partly sunny condition with occasional showers or thunderstorm, particularly in the mornings. Maybe some of you have already started experiencing the showers, thunderstorms here and there. And also, we are going to be ranging, temperatures are going to be between highs of 89 degrees Celsius and lows of 32 degrees Celsius. Okay, now Kisumu Dala, the land of fish. The current conditions right now are a bit cloudy, 70 degrees Celsius. Now through the day, expect more clouds with a chance of a thunderstorm, okay, and also highs of 81 degrees Celsius and lows of 65 degrees Celsius. Nakuru, the Flamingo County, The Flamingo County, yeah, Nakuru. So Nakuru, the current conditions right now are sunny. Right now mnaenjoy kajua kadogo kadogo hivi. It's going to be cloudy throughout the day. There is a potential of a thunderstorm or two, or even showers in the afternoon, but temperatures are going to be ranging from highs of 74 degrees Celsius and lows of 56 degrees Celsius. In Eldoret, it is a bit cloudy right now, 58 degrees Celsius. Now, expect a considerable amount of cloudiness with maybe an afternoon shower. It might shower maybe in the afternoons, or how you might have a thunderstorm here and there, with highs of 73 degrees Celsius and also lows of 54 degrees Celsius. Now let me look at Malindi. Now Malindi, it's going to be partly sunny throughout the day. Maybe a few showers here and there. You might have already experienced some morning showers. Those of you who are watching me in Malindi, and also throughout the day, expect highs of 89 degrees Celsius and lows of 91 degrees Celsius. And lows of 77 degrees Celsius. I beg your pardon for that. Then Garissa, partly sunny. There is no day I see Garissa ikisemekana kunanyesha. I do not know why, but every time I'm doing weather forecast in the morning, Garissa lazima tu kukue tu ni jua na lazima weke tu very hot temperatures. But anyway, Garissa, hoping you're doing well. Those of you who are watching us from Garissa, tunawapenda bure. We just love you for free. Tunawapenda. Mapenzi yetu kwenu ni bure. Kiswahili kidogo kidogo inaleta shida. But Garissa, it's going to be mostly sunny with very warm temperatures, highs of 96 degrees Celsius and lows of 36 degrees Celsius. No, lows of 76 degrees Celsius. Then in Nyeri, expect maybe clouds and sun throughout the day. There's a possibility of an afternoon thunderstorm or afternoon showers, a possibility, okay, and highs of 74 degrees Celsius and then lows of 24 degrees Celsius. Kitale. Now Kitale, those of you who are watching us from Kitale, expect some cloudiness, in the throughout the day, but in the afternoon you might expect a thunderstorm or also showers, and highs of 75 degrees Celsius and lows of 77 degrees Celsius. Okay, no, lows of 24 degrees Celsius. I beg your pardon for that as well. Then in Lodwar, it is sunny. A lot of sun there. It's going to be very warm throughout the day with mostly sunny skies. Highs are going to be ranging from 96 degrees Celsius and lows of 35 degrees Celsius. That is how our weather update looks like. And I always tell you that no matter the situation, no matter the condition, whether it's cloudy, whether it's rainy, whether it's windy, whether it's as hot as Garissa is, we always say that God is a God of all seasons, and his blessings don't stop just because it's raining, right? His blessings don't stop just because it's cloudy, or his blessings don't stop just because it's windy. He is a God of all seasons, and so you have to expect blessings all over. Now I want us to look at our traffic updates. Let's see what traffic has for us this beautiful morning. So let me start with the Thika Road right here. So Thika Road is moving swiftly, but there's a bit of snarl up, maybe a 10-minute delay. Traffic starts from Survey to Mudiga. It's a little bit delayed. There's a major delay there from Survey to Mudiga, but it's moving. And I always tell you that when traffic is moving, at least you're sure that you are safe. Have you ever stayed in traffic that is not moving? Do you know how that feels like? You're just in traffic na haiendi mahali, umekaa hapo for 30 minutes. I remember there was a time I stayed in traffic for almost 30 minutes. It's very frustrating. So when you feel when you hear that traffic ina move swiftly, at least hata kama ina move kidogo, you are happy because you know you're going somewhere. That is a Thika Road. Jogoo Road is looking good, it's looking nice, but now there's a little bit of snarl up from City Stadium. No major delay, just a little bit of delay pale City Stadium. As you go on your way to Country Bus, a little bit of snarl up there, but we do hope that mutafika poa mahali ambapo mnaenda, provided it's moving. Okay, then we look at Ngong Road. Now Ngong Road is looking nice. There is no report of any unusual accidents or incidents, but traffic congestion is normal because it's a rush hour again, and of course, there's a little bit of snarl up, but in a move, I don't know what happens to Ngong Road. You see Ngong Road and Mombasa Road, I've never understood, but provided traffic is moving. But good thing is there is no major accident along Ngong Road, and of course, there's been a snarl up because of the construction of the Ngong Road Naivasha road flyover. It's causing a little bit of snarl up, but things are moving, and we do hope that you are going to be safe. Okay. Let me look at Mombasa Road. Mombasa Road. Let's see how Mombasa Road looks like before we continue. Now, Mombasa Road, I am told here that Mombasa Road, there is no major traffic incidents, there is no major accidents or anything that has been reported, but traffic is moving. Yeah, no major delay. It's moving. There's no major traffic there. It's moving. At least when you hear it's moving, you're sure it's moving. Now Waiyaki Way is looking nice. There's only a little bit of snarl up Pale West to Chiromo Business Park, but everything is going on well. Which other road have I? Let me see if there's a road. Sijaweka some of our major roads. Kiambu Road, yeah. Kiambu Road, no major delay, but traffic is moving as well. That is our traffic updates. Remember, we say that wherever you are, wherever you're driving, always be mindful of the road users around you, also the V8 owners around you, and all that. Now, if you're just joining us, this is Impact Dialogues. We're just looking at our weather updates and our traffic updates, and we have a very powerful interview coming up in just a while. So we are going to be speaking about land and investments. Like, when it comes to land and investments, what is there to know? When I want to purchase a land, is there anything I should look into? When when I'm doing my due diligence, is there something I should look up to? When it comes to land investments, what is there to know about it? Is land investment even something to look to look into? Is it something to consider? Because there are very many avenues of investments, and we are going to have an interview one of those days on investment, so that you can know different different ways you can go ahead and invest. But for land, I always hear people say that land is the best. I do not know, but they say land is the best avenue to invest. So we are going to look more into that, some of the dangers, because anything that has an advantage surely must have maybe a single or two disadvantages. So we are going to look into that as well, to look at the dynamities, or rather the ins and outs of land investments. Like, are there maybe some protocols that we're supposed to look into? That is what we are speaking about. So if you're out there and you've been looking to invest in land, this is the perfect day to catch us on Impact Dialogues. We are going to have a powerful interview. I have an expert on that, so I'll appreciate your questions as well, so that we can invest. Tulisema tunakuwa rich disciples by fire by force. Okay, that is what we say. As we have more messages in here, let me check who has tried to text us here. Good morning, Ruth. My week is good. I am expecting blessings and a lot of blessings. That is a good way to start the week. That is a very nice way to start the week. I am expecting blessings and a lot of blessings. Let me see who else has texted us here. Just give me a minute to check that. Yeah. Good morning, Ruth, watching from Machakos. Oracle TV ilikuwa imepotea for 2 days. All right. Now, when you find you don't have Oracle TV, in your area. Now the first question I would ask is, have you rescanned your decoder, or rather have you rescanned your TV? Na kama una rescan, is your TV facing in the right direction? Always make sure it is facing towards the CBD of your area, because if you rescan and your area is facing the wrong direction, you end up not having us on air. But we apologize for that. We are going to check for that. Machakos, ujaniambia ni area gani? Just tell me which area is that, and we are going to check on that and maybe call you after the show to find out where the problem is. But in case umetukosa, always rescan your TV first, rescan your decoder, so that you can get us. Remember that we are on Pang and Signet, so you can either get us on both platforms. But thank you so much. Tell me ni Machakos wapi. We are going to help you, okay? Someone else here says, Lydia. Okay. Good morning, Ruth. Lydia watching from Kiharu. Expecting good blessings this week. Ni kama hii wiki mna expect tu baraka. Baraka zina flow tu hii wiki. Okay, let me see that. Good morning, Oracle TV. Okay, good morning, Oracle TV. Jane from Athi River. Jane from Athi River anasema expect wiki nzuri. Anasema tuned in, Athi River iko loud and clear. Let me see someone else here. Hi, I'm Ivy. Ivy watching from Kamwene. Ivy, Kamwene ni wapi? You tell me where Kamwene is. Kamwene ni wapi? Tell me Kamwene iko wapi, Ivy. Let me see someone else. Good morning, Ruth. Hi, you are right. God is a God of all seasons. Sisi ni jua tu inatupiga. Where is this? Mi nataka kujua ni wapi jua inawapiga. Where is this that nyinyi ni jua tu inawapiga? You tell me where that is. But thank you so much for keeping it Oracle TV. Yeah, sending your messages 0711-176-006. Tell me good morning. How are you doing? What are you looking forward to this week? And also, if you're out there and you want to know more about lands, you start sending in your questions right now, so that when our expert is here, we can go ahead and talk about land and investing, because I once had someone say land appreciates, and for you to like reap the benefits of it, you have to know how it works. So if you have a question on lands, then we are going to be together hapo. Kindly network ya TV, we are missing a lot. Okay, now you've not told me ni wapi ama ni nani. You text back. Umetuambia tu kindly network kwa TV. Please, we are missing a lot. You text back and tell us where you're watching us from, so we can solve your issue. Because if you do not tell us where you're watching us from, hatutaweza kusolve your issue. Sawa. Where are you watching us from? 0711-176-006. We have our first call here. Let me see who is trying to call us. Okay, Oracle TV, hello. Oracle TV, hello. We missed that one. I think shida kuna network issue. You call me again, I'll pick that. But I want us to take a short break, a very short break. When we come back, we are coming back with that interview I promised you on land and investment. So our investors out there, are you ready for this? Because this is going to be amazing. Make sure that you send in all the questions that you have on land and investments, and our expert is going to answer that for you. Now, this is Impact Dialogues with Ruth Wanjiru. Do not go anywhere. We are coming back after this short break.
See me, you know it is right. Whenever you see me, you know it is unspoken. What is this that is unspoken? Are you dealing with childbirth?
When a child comes to, they want to tell you something, allow them to be children, encourage them, punish them where it is necessary.
Are you dealing with drug addiction?
When we talk about drug addiction, we simply mean that there is a dependency of a substance. In this case, when you talk about substance, it's any chemical that will alter the normal functioning of the body. So with addiction, we say that there's an alteration of what happens. Psychological alteration, behavior alteration, and we can simply say that one becomes dependent of any drug of choice.
Are you dealing with succession issues? Are you dealing with divorce, separation? Are you dealing with anything that is not spiritual? As much as we say everything is spiritual, there are things that you need to deal with them in carnality. And that is what we do here at The Unspoken. We bring lawyers.
Well, my name is Penina Muigai, Mrs. Gatei in another name. I've been a lawyer in this town and elsewhere. I've been practicing for more than 15 years.
Advocates, magistrates, we bring doctors, we bring counselors, we have people who are dealing with depression, we have people who do not know that they have dealt with child trauma, we have people who do not know how to deal with their landlord and their landladies. By the way, did you know what your right is? That is what we deal with here on Oracle TV, The Unspoken, with me, Wangoi Gashanja.
Call me out upon the waters, the great
Nakuru, are you looking for a way to start your day with purpose and prayer in the presence of God? Mountain of Deliverance Church Nakuru invites you to our morning devotion service every weekday from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Experience powerful worship, life-changing teachings with Rev Mark Keitani as we seek God's presence this 2025. Don't miss this divine opportunity to begin your day on a higher spiritual note. Mountain of Deliverance Church Nakuru, your church of choice.
keep my eyes above them.
Every Sunday is not just another Sunday.
The glory of this church shall be greater than where I began. The anointing of this church shall be greater than where I began. You are not running to lose, you are running to win.
It is a divine appointment, a time to worship, be refreshed, and receive a powerful word of God that will transform your life.
This is where your future is uplifted, so that you may look like where you're going. Your parents brought you to this world. So my work is to continue from where your parents left. If they left you a beggar, I will not leave you a beggar. If they left you unmarried, I will not leave you unmarried. May that curse be broken.
Every Sunday at 8 a.m. It is the time of powerful prayers that compels the heavens to open, destinies change, and program our nation, families, and our lives. There are pillars that makes a church successful. One of them being the power of prayer, the power of word of God, and many more.
Pillars of a successful church.
Nguzo za kanisa lenye fanaka.
One of the pillars was the pillar of prayer.
Tumeona kwamba nguzo moja ilikuwa ni nguzo ya maombi.
The early church was a praying church. Number two, it was a church full of word.
Ya pili ni kanisa lilijawa na neno.
That's where you see, and the word of God prevailed.
Yotaona neno la Mungu likashinda.
And the pillar number three,
Napenda tuangalie nguzo ya tatu.
the giving lifestyle of the early church.
Maisha ya matoleo ya kanisa la mbeleni.
The giving life as the third pillar.
At 9 a.m. is where we start our Sunday celebration service, where the atmosphere is full of praises and worship before ushering in the oracle of God. We encourage you to open your hearts, engage in worship, and get ready for the mighty move of God.
What I never did in 30 years,
ambayo sikufanya miaka
I will
30,
do it in Nairobi within 5 years.
nafanya Nairobi kwa miaka
I am
5.
talking to somebody here.
Naongea na mtu hapa.
You have been stranded in the city.
Umekwama sana katika
I
mji.
say you have been stranded.
Umekwama sana.
By this grace,
Kwa neema hii,
you shall rise again.
utainuka tena.
I say you shall rise again.
Nasema utainuka tena.
Every grave
Kila kaburi
that arrested you
ambazo zilikuteka
in the
nyara,
order of
kama
Lazarus,
vile Lazaro,
I am standing on that door
nasimama katika lango
and say,
hilo.
Lazarus,
Nasema Lazaro,
you're coming out.
watoka nje.
Your marriage
Ndoa yako
is coming out.
watoka nje.
Your finances,
Fedha zako
they are coming out.
zinatoka nje.
Somebody say yes.
Miracles, breakthroughs, and fresh revelations await.
Psalms 122 verse 1.
I was glad when they say unto me, let's go into the house of the Lord. So let us rejoice, lift up our voices, and give God all the praise.
Join us every Sunday at Mountain of Deliverance Church, Nairobi from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Located in Ngara along Murang'a Road, 100 meters from Victory Matatu Terminus and next to Aqua Plaza. We welcome you with open hearts and open arms.
I have come to lift up my hands. I want to see some hands in this place. I have come to say thank you.
For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him should not perish but have everlasting life. This is a heavenly invitation from God, that for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him should not perish but have everlasting life. Yes, Jesus came on earth, born and grew, and he grew on this world, died on the cross. But his invitation also for you is, come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Do you want rest from sin? You can accept Jesus today as Lord over your life. Repeat this prayer together with me. Lord Jesus, I realize I am a sinner. I don't want to die. I surrender my life to you. I repent all my sins, my known sin and unknown sin. Forgive me and have mercy upon me. Write my name in the Lamb's book of life. From today, I am born again. I surrender my spirit, my soul, and my body to you. Save me now in Jesus' mighty name. You are now born again. Just take your phone, write to me and tell me, man of God, I am now born again. Jesus Christ is Lord over my life. Let me speak a word of prayer. By the seed of salvation in your life, may your life be transformed, and may God give you thirst and hunger for his word and prayer. In Jesus' mighty name, you are now my brother, you are my sister in Christ. In Jesus' mighty name. Amen.
This is the year to seek God more. This is the year to win souls. And this is the year to maintain a good relationship with your Maker. I am taking this great opportunity to welcome you to Mountain of Deliverance Nakuru, where every day is a day to have an experience with God. We have services across the week from Sunday to Friday. On Sunday, meet us from 6:30 a.m. all through to 9 a.m. for the first celebration service with Rev Mark Keitani. Second celebration service begins at 10 a.m. all through to 1 p.m. This is where you are fed spiritually. This is a church where you're appreciated, you are accepted. This is a place that your spiritual life is uplifted. On Monday from 5 p.m. all through to 6:30 p.m. as the Bible has commanded us to partake the body of Christ as Holy Communion. We have an empowerment service and a Holy Communion service. What a way to begin the week. Monday 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Come join us, young and old, male and female. Just come as you are. The Lord is calling you. The Lord is in need of you. By the way, we also need to look for God more and more. On Tuesdays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. we have mega deliverance services. There are those stubborn issues, stubborn things that are happening in your family, happening in your relations, happening at your workplace, happening in your ministry, and they need deliverance. It is one thing to be born again and another thing to be delivered. So join us every Tuesday at Mountain of Deliverance Nakuru for mega deliverance services with our priest Rev Mark Keitani. And you know what? We have not come to an end. On Wednesday, you need to pay the price. You need to be on your knees. The Bible says this kind does not just go. Rather, it needs to go by prayer and fasting. And on Wednesday from 9 p.m. all through to 4 a.m. we have a prayer kesha. This is where we wail. This is where we call unto God. This is where we say, this night, Father, I am here for you to listen to me. This night, dear Lord, I am here for you to change my situation. We have had great testimonies concerning or about this Wednesday's Kesha, where people have been transformed, people have been saved, people have been healed, promotions have come through. Make sure that you make a date with us every Wednesday for a prayer Kesha from 9 p.m. all through to 4 a.m. Now, going to Monday to Friday, 6 a.m. we all meet at Mountain of Deliverance Church Nakuru for an early morning of prayer. This is the best way to begin your day. Before you go to the market, before you go to your office, before you begin your daily routine, it is
amazing. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Impact Dialogues with me, Ruth Wanjiru, and I do appreciate you staying with us until this hour. If you're just joining us, you just missed our weather updates and of course our check-in to tell us where you're watching us from, and of course to tell us how your week is going to be. You can always tell us that. Our number is just right there on your screen, but we want to have that interview that I promised you. You can see I'm not alone, and I had mentioned to you before that today we are going to speak about land and investment, investing in land. What is it that you should look into? What is what are some of the protocols that maybe you should follow? What are some of the things that you should avoid? And with me today I have Anthony. I am going to let him introduce himself before we start or before we dive into it. But if you're out there and you have any questions on investing in land, this is the right time to send in your question. But first things first. Anthony, karibu Oracle TV.
Asante Ruth. Thank you for having me this morning.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Yeah, we say the future is here.
Yes, thank you.
Kindly introduce yourself. Tell us what you do and what you do best.
Thank you, Ruth. I'm Anton Maina.
Okay.
A registered estate agent. I call myself a real estate consultant.
All right.
Yes, I'm a council member, Institutional Surveyors of Kenya. And also I work for a company called Hail Group Limited, who is a developer.
Okay.
Yes.
That's interesting. And maybe to start us off, when it comes to land and investment, what is the link between them?
Land is a good vehicle for investment.
Okay.
And like we say, everything is based on land. So land is I can say, is the foundation of any investment. Yes.
No, that's quite interesting. And now for someone who's looking to, start investing and they realize that they want to start with land first, what is this that they should look into first?
When you want to invest in land, first we need to appreciate that you have had several issues in regarding to land, like land disputes. So when you are investing in land, you have to be careful on where to invest, the land to invest in, the kind of people you are dealing with. It's always advisable to use professionals in the land process, so that you don't fall culprit to the cartels. So the first thing that you need to look at if you want to invest in land, first thing I say is that you must have money. Start with money.
Okay.
Everything starts with a budget.
That's true.
Yes, you have money. After having money, then you know the purpose for which you want to invest in land. Because if you don't have a purpose, then you'll end up buying land anywhere and anyhow. Then after that, that's when you'll shop for your land. The land that fits your purpose. Yes.
And maybe right here in Kenya, are there areas that maybe we consider are the best, places to invest in land?
I can't say per se there is any specific area that's best to invest in land. Because it all depends on the purpose that you want to invest in land in. If you want to invest in land, maybe you just want to land to build a house. It all depends on the preference. If you want to buy land maybe to build some rental units, you have to look at maybe near an urban center where there is population. And you realize, okay, depending on the population, like here in Nairobi, within Nairobi, because the demand is quite high, the value of land is a bit high. So that's why maybe you find that the concentration of people that are buying land within Nairobi or within an urban center, because that's where the value increases. And also that's where maybe if you are going to build maybe some your apartments there or your residential houses, you definitely get people to occupy those houses. The other purpose maybe if you want to buy land for maybe to build villas, for tourist villas, definitely you have to go to areas like Mombasa, Diani. Yes. So it depends on the purpose of the land.
Yes. And you've mentioned something to do with value. Now, how do you, evaluate the value of the property that you want to buy?
The valuation is a process, doing evaluation. There are different approaches that you use in evaluation. The first one we say sales comparable. We look at within that area, what's the going price of land, so that you can compare that. The other one is cost approach, whereby you build, you compare, you get the cost from advice from the quantity surveyors, cost of construction of a house, then use that to be able to get the cost approach of that land. So the other one is what you call the investment approach. If you are doing evaluation of something like maybe a petrol station, that one you have to use the throughput. You will say, what's the revenue generated from there? I'll be able to capitalize. Yes.
All right. And there's something that people say when it comes to land investments, that land appreciates. So what does this mean?
Yeah, that's true. That's why the land is quite a good investment vehicle, because we say land appreciates in value. Rarely that value land depreciates. There are some instances, but most of the times it appreciates, because the first thing is that population increases with time. And this increases demand. The other thing is that land is scarce. It's finite in nature. It doesn't increase. So with the increased demand due to population increase and the land remaining the way it was, definitely it has to appreciate in value. And also the other thing that makes the land to appreciate in value is maybe you find that there are developments, capital developments, like a road or any other government amenities put in place. Maybe something has come up, like an university has been constructed within that area. So definitely those are things that make land to appreciate in value. Yes.
All right. And earlier when we started, you mentioned something about doing your due diligence so that you don't fall into the hands of the cartels. So I think of late, not even of late, over the couple of years, we've had a lot of cases, you know, of people buying lands and then wapata maybe kona title deed ya watu ni shamba moja lakini kona title deed ya watu watatu. I don't know how if you've fallen prey to that, but this has been an issue that has been you know, hitting us for so long. So when that person is looking for land, how do I do my due diligence? What are some of these factors that I should look into so that I make sure stuck on you? Okay.
I had the magazine that I had
okay.
in the morning, that I was reading in the morning. It was basically about that. There's a lad that's it's many Kenyans know about it, Karen lad.
Okay.
I remember there was a time the minister then, Charity Ngilu, was mentioned. Was the minister of land by then, and then because that the other day, that's when they were able to determine the case by the Environmental and Land Court.
Okay. And
they said there are about 3 titles to that land.
3 titles.
Yes, that's prime land in Karen. And they determined that none of those titles was genuine.
Legit.
Yes.
None of it was. So how do we look, Anthony, how do we know that a title ambao nimepatiwa, it's a legit title and it's not a fake?
Before I go there, maybe what I'd say is, according to the determination of the case, is that they look at the process.
The process,
of acquisition of the title. And that's all now the due diligence nowadays is beyond the search. Because what you're supposed to do, to be able to determine due diligence, part of it is to do a search, conduct a search at the Ministry of Lands. There's also something that came up. There's a case by the Supreme Court between Dinara Management and the county government of Mombasa. That was in Mombasa, whereby they held that it's not just by conducting a search that you know the bona fide owner. You go beyond to look at the process of acquisition. If the process of acquisition was not correct, like that case, the land in Mombasa was public land, but was given to an individual without following the due process.
Okay.
So even if you get that land, you are the third, maybe the third owner, I do a search, I do realize the name captured on the title is the same as the records of land, still the land is not genuine. But the basic thing that you do is conduct a search to be able to determine whether the name on the title is the same as the records as lands. What they usually do for freehold title, they look at the green card at the land registry. For leasehold land, they look at the white card at the ministry, so that you can be able to determine. If you look at that card, lawyers are able to get a copy. They can be able to ask for a copy. Even estate agents ask a copy from the Ministry of Lands of that green card, or at least the white card for leasehold, and be able to check who are the previous owners apart from the current one. Yes, that's the basic that you need to do on the title document. The other thing that you do on due diligence is when you go to site. Because the other thing, when you're buying land, you have to go to site. Last year utauziwa hewa. So you have to go to site.
Hot air.
Yes, when you're going to site, you arm yourself with a copy of survey map that you buy from Survey of Kenya. So you go with it. With the survey map indicates that it has dimensions of the land. So when you go to site, you'll be able to check whether it fits that. You can also calculate the area. If you're able to measure, you can measure. Then you can also look at adjoining plots, whether the way they are on the survey map is the same on the ground. Then when you get there, the other thing that you have to do is some interviews. Do interviews on the people that are within the neighborhood. They can be able to tell whether that land has any issue, whether there's any dispute. So with that, the other interview that you can do, especially when you are going to areas like which are quite organized estates whereby there are resident associations, you also need to interview maybe the officials to be able to determine any issues that are there, any regulations, because sometimes you buy land maybe in a particular area, you want to build certain development, you want to come up with a certain development, but it's not allowed in that area, depending on the regulations and the zoning. Yes.
Interesting. And you know, you've spoken about, you know, going to the ground, kufanya research yako, usiuziwe hewa. And I'm here thinking, do we fall prey to, you know, cartels and conmen because we do not like working for it?
Yes, definitely, definitely. If you want to shortcut, sometimes you'll be conned. You have to go the long haul. you have to, because I believe land is not something that you buy like a loaf of bread.
True.
It's something that you have to look for, something substantial. I have found cases whereby someone had saved for retirement, and then after being given pension, went to a place in Syokimau, bought land.
Wow.
But I realized that there were issues. So imagine now you are now, by that time you don't have energy to get more money. It's your pension.
Yeah.
The whole of it has gone. What do you do? So you have to take time, do your due diligence well, because sometimes you realize if you go to somewhere and then you are told only a few plots remain. So hurry up.
Hurry up, harakisha.
Lace your antenna, be very keen, and take your time.
Yeah, in Greek they say buroti maguta maguta.
Yes.
But you know, you've mentioned that when looking for land, it has to go with the purpose. Now, for someone maybe who is looking to start a business, or someone who's maybe looking to start an institution, are there some areas you would call fit for such?
Yes, definitely, because there are the regulations according to the Physical Planning Act. There are some regulations whereby the zoning of particular area, there are the land uses. You can't build a commercial. Maybe it's a commercial, it has to be in the commercial area. If you want to do maybe an institution or university, must be within the area zoned for that purpose. Even though sometimes we realize in Kenya things don't go as per plan. You find that the developments come, the regulation comes later. Like in Kitengela. Kitengela initially was supposed to be a wildlife area, wildlife corridor.
True.
But people went there and settled.
They started investing.
Yes, now the county and the government has to go there to create amenities, to try and create zoning, which was they are supposed to have done earlier on. Yes.
And now let's talk about zoning. And you know there are laws and regulations that you know govern the zoning. And how does this affect land investments?
It affects in this way. If you do the right thing at the right zone, then that means the land, the value will be maintained.
Okay.
But if you do like there's this case of whereby we find there have been cases whereby the courts have stopped development. I can give an example: Peponi Road in Nairobi, Raptor Road also, whereby there were the investors who are building high-rise apartments, whereas that area they have been told the amenities for that area or the zoning for that area doesn't allow that. So as an investor, you have to be very careful so that don't you lose your money. Going to a place that's zoned for a particular maybe what we call medium density, or then you go and build construction like in a high density area. Yes.
Interesting. And for someone who's new to land investments, or rather someone who's looking to maybe amesoma mahali, nowadays we have a lot of information out there, and they are looking to start with, what is the right place to start?
They want to start
investing in land.
Okay, what to tell is that in that case, if you are new and you're not sure whether you do the right thing, make use of professionals.
Okay.
As estate agents, we are there to guide people who are new, to advise them on where there's potential, depending on their purpose in buying that land, will be able to advise.
Okay.
So they are the professions that you can use. They are the valuers. They can be able to advise you what's the value of land in a particular area.
True.
Because you realize in Kenya, the land information is asymmetrical. You can't be able to tell unless now you do evaluation or be able to interview agents or people dealing with the land. They can be able to tell you in a particular area this is the value of land. If you don't do that, you'll end up buying land at very high prices in an area where the value is a bit low. I've encountered such cases in some areas, especially where people are being told, come to Malidi, buy an eighth acre at 200,000. But when you get the crowd, you might find maybe even an acre is 100,000.
Wow.
Yes. So people need to get information from the right professionals. Yes.
And maybe is that where we go wrong? No maana tunakonyangwa tu kwa sababu we don't want to spend money on professionals.
Yeah, that's basically that's true. you know there are people we don't advise, like we say, a woman who is in love or some supporters of some club, they can't be advised the same way as someone who has money. I've had even some friends of mine, they don't want even to, and I won't charge them much. Sometimes it's just a cup of coffee and I give them the information. But they don't want me to know they are buying land. So you find that, yes, if a spouse can buy land without the other knowing, now tell about maybe involving a professional. They don't want the professional to know, or maybe they don't know, they don't want the afraid to know they are buying land. So that's the challenge that we face. We don't want to be known when you are buying land.
Mtaka kukua tajiri chini tu. And I have a question here. So when I'm buying land, how do I let me check that again. When I'm buying land, how do I know that the land I'm interested in has good development prospects?
The first thing that I said about, you have to look at the potential.
The potential
and,
of the land. Okay.
The potential of the land, sometimes you have to, maybe that's why you have to inquire. You have to inquire whether the government is doing something. Like when the government has a plan of maybe doing a market within that area, doing an institution, maybe an university or something else, that's a very good area to be able to speculate, because most of us want to speculate. You want to buy land, this area, and then after 5 years, want the value to have doubled or tripled. Yes, so you have to know what's the plan, the government plan within that area. Okay. Yes.
And I have another one here. Okay, this one is quite funny, like so I'll read it just as it is. Yes. So we are always told that ukitaka kununua shamba ungoje kunyeshe ndio ndo kanunue. How true is this?
That's very true. That's very true.
Yeah, true.
In some areas, especially when you are buying land to occupy, to build your house. That's a good way also of due diligence. Because give an example I gave some days back. I had a friend who was buying land in Ngong.
Ngong, okay.
Yes, and I advised them. They were being taken in a group. And I advised my friend that when you go out there as a group, just move away from that group, get someone within that area and ask, how is the land in that area?
Yeah.
Then he found someone who was herding his cows and asked, and he was told that that area that you are in, that time it was dry, it was not raining, it's usually like a swamp.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
Kukinyesha ni swamp.
Kukinyesha ni swamp. Okay. So, I know those who are people are taking you to site. They don't want you to take you when it's raining. Yes. So, that's why I advise people. Ukienda eda ground wakati kunanyesha, and sometimes go alone. You don't have to go to be taken. If you know the area, ask someone for pin coordinate. You get yourself there. Yes.
That's interesting. Hoping umejibiwa. Kwenda kuangalia shamba kama kunanyesha. And talking about environmental factors, because rain is some sort, it's an environmental factor. So does do environmental factor play a role in the value of land, like depreciating and appreciating of land?
Yes, basically, because what we are supposed to advocate for is sustainable land use. Okay. And nowadays there's a term we call ESG, which is environmental, social, and governance issues.
All right.
Which you have to consider in land investment when you are doing land valuation. You have to consider, because at the end of the day, it's a sustainable land use. You don't want to use land now, then future generations won't be able to use that land because of issue of climate change and the rest. Yes.
Oh, that's interesting. And let's talk about fluctuations in the market. And in other industries, we see this a lot. I mean, in other investments, the fluctuations always affect, when you're investing. So does this happen with land as well?
What I say is that land, and that's why land is preferred as an investment. Okay. Land acts as a hedge against inflation. And you know that inflation in the market, that's what causes fluctuations. So land acts as a hedge against that inflation. So we rarely find land fluctuating. Okay. It's maybe stabilized. And where there are cases whereby maybe the land, maybe assuming that you bought land 5 years ago at 2 million, and we realize after 5 years it's still 2 million. That means there was a mistake at the beginning. the land when you are buying, it was overpriced. Because
okay,
that doesn't depreciate. That doesn't fluctuate. Yes. Yes.
And okay, you know, in other markets, we normally have sometimes there's a season to buy. Especially, let me take an example of shares. There's a season where you buy shares. There's a season where you're advised not to buy shares. Do we see this in land? Is there a season that is you know, highly recommended for us to buy land? Any time is just the right time to buy?
Good question. Also in land, there's the same way.
Okay.
What we call the seller's market or the buyer's market. The seller's market, you find that maybe there are a lot of sellers selling land. And buyer's market, maybe you find now the buyers can be able to buy land.
Okay.
So you have to look at different situations. And the best time to buy is when there are not many buyers. Because the price will be a bit low. When there are so many sellers selling land, but there are no buyers. There are cases whereby you find like there are some tycoons. I think in the US where I found someone, I can't remember the name, bought land during the depression. Everyone is selling. The bank is auctioning your property because of mortgages you have not paid your loans.
True.
Then that's when he was buying. So you buy at this, the value of that land or that property is a bit low.
Okay.
And he bought when things stabilize in the economy, because also depends on the economy. If the economy is doing well, you find more people can be able to buy. But if the economy is not doing well, less people can buy because people are struggling to survive. So if you have your money there and buy within that time when many are struggling, you can be able to buy, hold on to that property. Then when the economy improves, you can be able to sell. Yes.
Interesting. I don't know if you're learning something back at home. I am loving some of your questions that are ni funny, because I have another funny one. But keep sending in your questions on 0711 176 006. Tell us what you want to know about you know, investing in land. You might have tried to invest in land and it didn't go it didn't go well. It is always good to ask to know where you went wrong. Also, you might be wanting to, you know, involve yourself in land investments. Also the perfect interview for you out there. Now niko na hii anasema, okay Ruth, hi Ruth, loving the show. Najua hainihusu. Lakini where is it that some lands kuna kuanga na kitu kama mother title? Okay, yeah.
Okay, you see, that's why it's called mother title.
Okay.
A mother gives birth.
All right.
Yes. So when there's a mother title, it means it's supposed to give birth to other titles. So maybe that land has not been subdivided.
Okay.
Or it has been subdivided, but still these offspring from the mother, who are the subdivisions, don't have their own titles. So basically they're supposed to have their own titles, or sometimes in cases whereby it's leases, they don't have their own individual titles. What they usually have, their entries on the mother title and the land's registry. Yes, the mother title is there for the whole.
Okay.
Then they are supposed to have subdivisions where they are the offsprings. Then they are supposed to have their own individual titles. Nowadays, in the case of apartments, initially you used to have that mother title, but now in the case of apartments, because of the Sectional Property Act, they have to have individual title for the units.
Okay. Yes. And I think this happens, you know, for those apartments that you get to buy. You know, pata imejengwa and then you just buy one for yourself.
Yes.
I'm hoping umejibiwa mahali huko. Inakuhusu. Useme kuhusu. Inakuhusu. And now, you know, I'm thinking, Anthony,
yes.
we invest so that we can get profit. And so I've invested in my land. Is there a way for me to get profit without developing it?
That's okay. That's you want to reap where you never sowed, which happens. Yeah, you speculate. You speculate.
All right.
And now what usually happens, for you to be able to get profit, someone else has to do something.
Okay.
In this case, maybe the government have to do a road. So your land, like it used to happen. It happened sometimes back at the Eastern Bypass. Okay. There are some people who had bought land. Initially, at that time, you could only access that area from Mombasa Road. But then when the Eastern Bypass was constructed, the lands touched the Eastern Bypass.
It's true.
So it appreciated in value. The other one is where maybe another investor, maybe a private investor, has come into that area has done maybe a development, maybe a hotel or something to that case. Your land definitely, because it's within that neighborhood, it will appreciate in value. Yes.
So unaweza achana tu na ungoje siku yenye watu wanataka market uze.
Then you use
Reaping where you did so.
Yes.
That is right. And you know, when buying land, okay, nowadays we have something called you know, virtual real estate. So how does this affect the nini right now, the you know, the investment in land right now?
You mean the virtual?
Yeah, the virtual real estate.
What I've seen is just the virtual, what we call the virtual site visits, or virtual, where you'll be able to be shown maybe a development will be this way, where developers do radars. It's a kind of virtual, because you want to project how the future will be from now.
Does this not increase the risk of you being conned?
No. What
Ujaenda kwa ground.
Yeah, what happens if, like, maybe diaspora clients, or you can be able to come. It's also a way of maybe checking, but it's not foolproof. You can be conned because you are not going to the crowd. Like now with the issue of apartments, the one we are doing most of the times, the way they do the radars, they want to tell you how it will be, like maybe 2 years from now. So that's maybe it can be that way, or there are some developers who don't deliver the promise. So you have to be careful. You have to look at the kind of developer who is doing this. Has this developer done any other development somewhere else? Or are they able to deliver the promise or not? Yes, that's part of due diligence. You have to be.
All right.
On, yes.
Okay. And I have someone here saying, morning Ruth, watching from Kamangu, Kikuyu. That's very close to home. Na nasema say hi to Mr. Anthony Maina Ngaruka. Yeah, that is Ngaruka. Someone else here asks, good morning Ruth. Is land really the best investment plan there is? Wow. Maybe you can answer that for us, Mr. Anthony. Is land really the best investment there is?
Okay. First, I want to acknowledge the greetings of Garuka.
Okay.
Garuka, I'm happy that you are watching and you are learning. So the other question is whether land is the best investment. I would say land is one of the best investment. The only thing that land is not good at is that if you want to liquidify or you want to liquidate your the land, like you have some plot somewhere and you have an emergency, maybe a healthy issue or something, and you want to liquidate that land to be able to get cash to spend. In that instance, land is not, because land is something for long term. It's long-term investment. To be able to realize the results, it has to be long-term. Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
And someone here else is asking how leases work. How land leases work.
There are two kinds of leases.
Okay.
Maybe this just a lease to, there are people who lease land, maybe yearly basis, to plant, especially in agricultural areas. You find that someone has leased an acre to plant potato or something else. So that you have to have a contract with the owner. Then you have the land leases, which is a term, maybe a period of term. Like you find that most land leases here in Kenya, they are for 99 years.
99 years,
yes.
That's a long time to
99 years. So what you are supposed to do, when you are buying land for a lease, which is a leasehold interest, you have to check the remaining period.
Okay.
Because if maybe it's remaining like 5 years, the value is not supposed to be the same as maybe where the remaining period is more than 20 years. It's supposed to be different. Then what you are supposed to do, because there have been cases where maybe people have been conned their assets because of leases, especially in this parklands area, you need to know when maybe this is expiring. So that before expiry, you can be able to start the lease renewal process. Yes.
Interesting. And you know, for me to you know have profit of the land that I have to like recognize a prime area for it, right? So what are some of the signs, or rather I was about to say symptoms, but I don't think that will come to it. But what are some of the signs or factors that I should look into so that I can get a prime land somewhere, maybe where in 5 years to come I'm going to get profit for my land. In 10 years to come the land is not going to be the same value as it was.
Thank you. Some of the factors that you looked at, you have to do what you call the neighborhood analysis.
Okay.
In a particular area, you have to identify what's being developed in that area. Are there developments coming up? Like you go in an area, find now one person has constructed another one. So that shows that maybe that's an area that's growing.
Okay.
And soon maybe the value will have appreciated.
Right.
Because if you buy land in an area where development has already been done, you don't expect that the value will be able to appreciate in a faster rate than an area that's growing. And that's why I mentioned earlier, you also need to consider what are the plans by either the national government or the county government. Because if there are plans to do maybe a capital development in that area, a capital development like road, market or something else, then that's an area that you can be able to buy land and expect the value will increase.
Okay.
Yes.
And there are these people I hear say, you know, they wait for an opportune time when they hear serikali inajenga barabara mahali fulani. That is where they go to buy land. So maybe when it comes to appreciating of the land, what does that have to do with you know, increasing profit?
What usually happens is that, you know, when you're doing valuation, accessibility is key. Accessibility in terms of location next to a road. If a plot touches the main road, then the value will definitely be higher than a plot that's within the hinterland. Okay. Yes, so that's why people would like to be along the roads. Yes.
And the risks of it, because many attempts we've seen, you know, mahali mmejengea nyumba iko kando ya mto, mara unaambiwa iko kando ya barabara. So how should an investor navigate some of these risks while also wanting to, you know, get profit from the same land?
That's key, and there are two things that arise from your question. Either next to a road or river.
Yeah.
Especially rivers.
Rivers,
you have to look at the riparian reserve. That's from the main road, from the main river. There's supposed to be a distance maybe of say about 10 meters, 30 meters, depending on the road, on the river, that you are supposed to keep so that you don't buy until that area. There are cases whereby we have found, because of people don't do due diligence, especially when you have been told in a beach plot, you buy. But when you go there with a surveyor, you find the beacons are inside the sea. Okay. So you have to be careful. The roads also, you need to know the road reserve so that you don't build along the road reserve. Then when later maybe the governments want to expand the road, they start demolish, then you start complaining, protesting. Yes, that you have put a lot of money there, you need to be compensated. But initially, you are the one who didn't do due diligence, you built on a road reserve.
So I think all this goes back to due diligence.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Interesting. I don't know if you're learning anything back at home. Thank you so much for your questions. And also, you can text on that number, 0711 176 006. We are speaking about land and investments. How do you invest in land? What are some of the key factors that you should look into? Now, one of the questions I've seen from more than 4 people, you know, I've been waiting to finish up with that, is as an investor, is there maybe a particular amount I'm supposed to be having for me to start, you know, investing, like a particular capital that I should be having, you know, when I'm thinking of investing in land?
Basically, there's no any minimum amount because it all depends with where you want to buy land.
All right.
And what's the going values in that area. Okay. Even though nowadays, for people who want to invest in real estate, and they don't have a big amount or big capital, like maybe developments who come up, like maybe in a shopping mall or maybe in a block of apartments. Nowadays, there's what we call the real estate insurance trust. There are people who deal with those, whereby you buy like a share. You have for your 5,000, you can be able to buy a share in that. I think Centum, they should do that with their investments. So it's something maybe someone can be able to look into. But in the others, where you buy a plot, it all depends on what you have and the going rates within a particular area. Yes.
I have a very interesting question here about reselling land for profit. So, Anthony, how far is far? Yes, we want to make money. Tunataka kutengeneza hii pesa, hii shamba nilinunua kitambo, nimengoja appreciate for the past 5 years. How far is far when it comes to reselling?
You hear people saying return on investment.
Return on investment.
ROI. Return on investment on land depends. It all depends with several factors.
Okay.
Like if it's just vacant land, you want to, and like I said initially, land is long term. It also depends with what you have bought.
True.
Because someone who has bought an 8-acre plot, you don't expect to make much profit within 3 or 4 years. But someone who has bought a large tract, maybe, let's say even starting from 10 acres, within 5 years, maybe you can be able to subdivide and sell off the subdivided plots and make good profit. So it all depends with what the purpose or investing and what you're investing in. The other example is someone maybe investing in the flats. You might realize maybe if you buy a block of flats now, or if you construct a block of flats, to be able to get your returns on investment, it may take about 15 to 20 years.
Wow.
Yes.
That's a long time. That's a very long time.
So it all depends, yes.
Okay,
yes.
utangoja 15 years mtoto ende high school upate returns, but I'm hoping your question has been answered. And maybe to my last question, Anthony. So, properties do change, their values, markets do change, do shift. So how does this affect land investment?
The properties change
in a value.
In a value. Okay. When you buy something and the value increases, so as an investor, you tend to gain. Yes, you gain.
Okay.
Yes.
That's interesting. I really had to ask that. Ni mtu ameuliza hiyo. But thank you so much for your questions. I do appreciate everyone who is watching us, and I'm hoping you are learning something on land. Yeah, another one just came in. Is there any profit in buying land in rural areas? Yeah, and how do those markets, markets differ, the rural and the urban areas market?
Thank you for that question. Most of us, they're what we call the pull factors to urban areas. So because of the pull factors, we expect the urban areas, their employment opportunities.
Right.
So that's what causes the pull factors to the urban areas. So because of the pull factors, you find a lot of people coming to the urban areas.
Okay.
So the increased population increases demand for land. So that's why you find land in urban areas, the value will be higher.
Okay.
And also if you're able to buy that land within maybe a short period of time, the value will have appreciated in value. Whereas in the rural areas, especially in the rural areas which are not a bit dormant in terms of growth, you might find that even if you buy an acre there today, maybe 5 years time, the value just appreciated kidogo too. But nowadays we expect with the devolution, the county government, there's much work being done in the rural areas with the county government doing access roads, huko barabarani, huko ndani. So we expect also the value there to also increase. The other thing that can maybe cause land values in the rural areas to increase is maybe the activity there, economic activity. If it's an area whereby there's a lot of maybe tea growing zones, we expect the value there to be a bit high. So it all depends on the economic activity within the rural areas. If there are good economic activities, even the land value there also can increase at a high rate. Yes.
Interesting. And thank you so much, Anthony, for making time to come and speak to us about investing in land. And you who is back at home, I am hoping that you've learned something. Now, for your parting, before I give you your parting shot, Anthony, I would like you to speak to 3 people, okay? One who wants to invest, who is looking to invest into land. There is a person who is just starting, maybe an advice you would have for them. And also number 2, someone who has invested before and they failed, and maybe it's not appreciating, or that person is not getting as much profit from land as they expected. Then number 3, someone who's seasoned in investing. Your advice to these 3 people.
Thank you for those questions.
Yeah, right.
What I'll say is that for someone who is starting, you require as much information as possible.
Okay.
So that's why you advise that you have to utilize the professionals to be able to advise you.
Right.
You can also ask your friends where is the best area to invest, and take your time. Take your time before you invest.
Okay.
Take your time before you invest that money in something, so that you don't cry later that umekoniwa. So that's the first I will say.
Okay.
For the second one, someone who has tried maybe investment there before and failed, I'll tell that person, don't give up. You may have been conned the first time, so don't give up. Look at maybe where you made a mistake, rectify that mistake, and invest again.
Okay.
Yes, because there are people still making good money in investment. For someone who is seasoned, that's someone who has experience.
Yeah.
Just continue doing what you do best, and you continue gaining returns.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting. If you are in those categories, I'm hoping that umeshika kitu. The number one category, you need as much information as you can out there. Do your due diligence. Get a surveyor, get a lawyer. And I think in the course of the week, I think we should do that on Friday. We are going to have a lawyer to come and talk to us about some of the legal frameworks to work with when it comes to buying land, when it comes to property and all that. But that is number one. Then number two, if you've invested na imeanguka kidogo, don't give up. It's going to happen sooner or later. Then to the number three, wameambiwa endelea kufanya kile unapenda kufanya. Thank you so much, Anthony, for making time. Now I would like you to give your parting shot before we wind up.
Thank you, Ruth, and thank you for this opportunity to be able to get to your audience. I appreciate so much, and I hope the audience have benefited from our discussion. And if there are any other queries, you continue answering them.
True.
What I'll say is that make use of professionals. Like myself, I'm a registered estate agent. People don't know the difference between an agent. People say, the other day I heard people saying that agents are expensive, especially when you're looking for maybe a house to move to. And what I'll tell them, those are not agents that you deal with. Those are brokers.
Okay.
An agent is registered by the Estate Agents Registration Board.
All right.
If you check on the Gazette notice, you'll find my name there. I'm there, Anton Minor, I'm there. And that's what I advise people. Differentiate between agents and brokers. So if you are conned by a broker, don't say that agents no buyer.
The agent alikukon.
No. Agents don't charge viewing fees when you are going maybe to view a house. They don't charge. But brokers will charge that because that's what they did. They do best. That's what they do best. The other one is that if it's valuation, ask for a valuer to be able to give you an assessment of an area. If you're doing the sale agreements, a lawyer will do that. If you are doing a construction, use the architects, engineers, quantity surveyors. Those are the professionals within the construction industry.
All right.
The other one I'll say, I will read a Bible verse.
Okay.
In Genesis 12, I don't know whether it's verse 7. The Lord appeared to Abraham and said, to your offspring, I'll give this land. The other one is Proverbs 16:3. This one encourages that someone seeks God's guidance in whatever you do. Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and He will establish your plans.
Amen.
So when you're buying land or anything, just commit those plans to God.
Yeah.
And do justice. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I will give you land. You are supposed to be having your own. But thank you so much, Anthony. We do appreciate you making time for Impact Dialogues this morning. And to you back at home, thank you so much for everyone who has joined us, everyone who has sent in their questions, every silent viewer who has learned anything. This has been so interesting. We do hope to see you again on Wednesday with yet another exciting episode of Impact Dialogues. My name is Ruth Wanjiru. You can find me on all my socials, Ruth Wanjiru. Go ahead and interact, engage. Also, make sure that you're following our pages right here, the Oracle Television Network Facebook page, and also the Oracle Television Network YouTube page. Now, this has been an exciting episode. Until next Wednesday, or rather until on Wednesday, not next Wednesday, this coming Wednesday. Let me not jump. Until this Wednesday, stay safe, stay happy, and stay blessed.